Well, more now on our top story, a dust-up between Arizona Senator John Kyl and the White House over what the president did or did not say behind closed doors about securing our southern border. Here is Senator Kyl at a Tea Party town hall in his home state.
Here's what the president said. The problem is, he said, if we secure the border, then you all won't have any reason to support comprehensive immigration reform. In other words, they're holding it hostage.
This is a live look here inside of the White House briefing room. The press briefing underway. We're waiting for news on this. As we get it, we'll bring it to you. But in the meantime, the administration on paper has denied that President Obama ever made that comment. Someone here appears to be lying. Joining me now, syndicated radio talk show host Lou Dobbs joins me on set. Lou, thanks so much for being here.
Great to be with you.
And that's not me saying somebody's lying. It appears that the White House levels that accusation because they came out with a statement that begins with, the president didn't say that and Senator Kyl knows it. And then Senator Kyl's people came back and said there were two people in that meeting and that spokesman wasn't one of them. We stand by the remarks.
I think it's fascinating that a man with Senator Kyl's record of public service. This man is not the most exciting politician in the U.S. Senate by any stretch of the imagination, but he is among the straightest. This man speaks carefully. He is intellectually rigorous. To accuse this man of lying would suggest that in that one moment Friday at a Tea Party, he took leave of his entire record, all of his values, and frankly, that strains credulity to the breaking point.
But why would President Obama make such an admission to Senator Kyl? What would possess him, even if that were his policy, which is also an assumption, to say to a Republican from Arizona, you know, we can't secure the southern border because we need Republicans to come on board with comprehensive reform?
Megan, I can't speak to the president's motivations on this or on so many issues, but I will say that he does have a record of stating the obvious. I don't believe that the president, if he said this, thought that there would be any news value in it, because it is obvious that we're not securing our border. It is obvious the political reasons why, not only for this administration but the previous. The American people, and you watched and heard that reaction in that Tea Party Friday.
They were gasps.
They were gasping because they are dealing with all that of the burden of illegal immigration and an open border. I can't believe that he thought he was doing anything that would be newsworthy. He was just admitting the obvious.
You know, when Dan Pfeiffer, the White House communications director, came out with this statement, basically accusing John Kyl of misstating the facts, they also attached some background on what the president has done to secure the border. They talk about 110 additional special agents down there. He tripled the number of ICE intel analysts. And then they point out...
Was that number, what was it, 18? Was that the tripling?
Well, but then they also point out that the president is going to call for, they say, up to an additional 1,200 National Guard troops to the border and will request $500 million in supplemental funds for enhancing the border protection. So their point is, we are securing the southern border. Senator Kyl doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think as you go through those statistics the White House was nice enough to share, most of them are in regard to outbound events and traffic rather than inbound. Almost 600,000 illegal aliens have been apprehended by the Border Patrol. The typical ratio is 3 to 1. For every apprehension, 3 enter the country successfully. And that's the Border Patrol's metric, not mine or anyone else's. It's the Border Patrol's. This is a laughable response from the White House. And it's more of the, unfortunately, I'm one of those people who's very hopeful that we can come to a solution, a rational, effective, humane solution on border security and illegal immigration. But this kind of gamesmanship, political gamesmanship, will set back that effort tremendously.
Well, do you think it's possible? I mean, maybe to you it's not extraordinary. To me it still is. That it is possible we have a president, and as you point out, perhaps President Bush was of the same mind. It's possible we have a president sitting there saying, I'm not going to secure the border because I want comprehensive reform, and I can't get the votes I need from the GOP side unless I leave those folks down in Arizona and other southern states unsecure. I mean, people are being murdered down there.
Murdered. They are being kidnapped, being smuggled illegally into the United States, raped. This is a devastating crime wave on our border, not just in Arizona, but primarily so, because that's where most of the illegal immigrants into this country are crossing. But it's across our border with Mexico. We are watching 25,000 Mexican citizens being murdered in Mexico, primarily in the northern part, near the border, without any kind of reflex from this government. And we have the posing and the posturing of Felipe Calderon, the president of Mexico, rather than an honest, forthright response to illegal immigration. All that is required here is a treaty between the United States and Mexico, a responsible, not paternalistic policy toward Mexico by the United States.
I got to get you to weigh in on now
Sure.
this news from the Department of Justice that they are going to be filing a challenge, as expected, to Arizona's law. I mean, Arizona, now you really got to feel for Arizona, right, because they've got this problem.
Yeah.
Now they find out that, according to Senator Kyl, the border's not going to get secured until comprehensive reform is passed. So they pass this law, and now the DOJ is going to challenge it.
Yeah, I would only say, Megan, that it will be secured whether this president chooses to do so or not, because the people of Arizona have acted. On July 30th, this law that they just enacted will go a long way toward helping them. It won't be absolutely secure. It's not the perfect solution. The perfect solution is to have a responsible president, a responsible administration securing the border. But the people of Arizona deserve great credit. And if this administration thinks they can bully the state of Arizona, it's been tried 7 times, and the ACLU has participated. They have won in each of 7 cases trying to roll back their anti-illegal immigration laws and initiatives. The state of Arizona has prevailed each and every time. They are not going to be intimidated, and they won't be dissuaded by more propaganda from an administration seeking political leverage.
Governor Jan Brewer seems to have made that clear so far. All right, Lou Dobbs, always a pleasure, sir. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
Come back.
You got a deal.